Well, I'd like to welcome everybody tonight to the Village of Holly Parks meeting for May 3rd, 2023 at 6 p.m. at the Carl Richter Center. I'll call this meeting to order at 6 o'clock. Stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Hutchins,
Here.
McCanny,
Here.
Cole, Kyer,
Here.
Summers, Peltonen, Hamilton,
Here.
I'd entertain a motion at this time to excuse Gail Pelton from tonight's meeting. And we also, Shannon Cole has said she's stuck in traffic. She'll be here shortly. Would somebody like to make a motion for the excusing of Gail?
I'll make the motion to excuse Gail from tonight's meeting.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Moving on to the agenda changes, approval of the agenda. Does anybody have anything to add or subtract from the agenda as presented?
Nope, it looks good to me.
Is that a motion?
Yes, I make a motion to approve the agenda, or the minutes. Wait a minute, the agenda, we're on agenda.
Yeah.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same side. Motion carried. Approval of the minutes for April 5th, 2023.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of April 5th, 2023, as they are.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, motion carried. Now it's time for public comment not related to the agenda. Members of the public can address commission once recognized by the chairperson. Comments are limited to a maximum of 4 minutes. Commission may extend this time up to additional 4 minutes by majority vote. For items on the agenda, comments may be made after commission discussion prior to commission vote. Prior to addressing commission, members of the public shall state their name and address for the record. Anybody for public comment? Geez, after that speech. Well, seeing no public comment at this time, we'll move on to old business. Old business, item 1, spring cleanup. We had a good time at the spring cleanup. There was about 35 people there. We concentrated all our endeavors that day on Waterworks Park. And it was a good turnout, and I think it was a lot of fun. Everybody really got in there and moved a lot of brush for the DPW. We put them guys to work. Any other comments about the cleanup?
No, I think it was fantastic, and yeah, again, appreciate DPW bringing out the dumpsters. Couldn't ask for a better day.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I think that we need to make a point to have outhouses delivered before any cleanups that are done there. We had like 40 people there and there was nowhere to go to the bathroom.
Well, it's gotta be above freezing or we pay a surcharge to have them there, so.
I think it's important to have outhouses before or schedule our cleanup later. It's really just a point of like practicality.
Brian, what would be the cutoff date for surcharge for cold weather?
As soon as it's above freezing at night, that's when because they have to put antifreeze in the
Yeah.
liquid so it doesn't freeze, so. I mean,
Yeah.
normally we would've had them there by April 15th, but the weather just didn't cooperate, so that's why we didn't have origin, so.
Yeah. It was a huge improvement using ASP program. We got a tremendous amount done extra. We also dedicated a lot more time of the day than I think we would have done if it was just volunteer driven. For instance, I think everybody wanted to be done at noon, but we were committed to be there to supervise them until 4. If we're gonna have that many people in the park that are obligated to be there from 8:30 in the morning till 4 p.m., we have to have bathroom facilities. So we just need to really factor that in, I think, for the coming times. Or pay an extra surcharge, or, I mean, it's a really long amount of time to have no bathroom.
What is that surcharge, do you know of?
We've never paid it, cause I always get them out of there in the fall before we have to start paying it, so.
Yeah,
And like I said, normally April 15th is a rule of thumb, so that would have been the first weekend we would have had them, but the weather didn't cooperate, so.
right.
So I guess next year we'll watch the weather forecast more, huh?
Well,
In planning?
if I can order them for that one park, or whatever park you decided to do a cleanup at, it just, like I said, normally.
Yeah. Luckily, that weekend was the one good weekend
Yeah.
this
The
month.
one good day, one good day,
Right.
rain the next day, yeah. We don't have any flexibility though when we do ASP, so when we set our date 2 months in advance, we're just gonna have to be able to, yeah. 2 or
And
3
I
months in
think that was
advance.
discussed when we set up spring cleanup, was to make sure it was still, the weather would hopefully be good.
Yeah,
Right.
it's always our hope.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's just a new factor going forward with ASP. I definitely think we should utilize that program, but that's just a little hiccup that we've never had to deal with before. It's a very long span of time, and we have to have just bathrooms. I want to thank you, April, for providing lunch for everybody. That was really very amazing of you.
Yeah, no problem.
Also, Lisa at Holly Donuts provided donuts for everybody in the morning, and that was really nice. And then I think we got bags
From
donated
Ace.
by Ace. That was also really nice contributions from the community. That was all I have for that. Did that work out okay, those piles we left?
Sure.
Would there be a better suggestion of surplus that, I mean, if we went taller, that wouldn't have been any better, right?
No, we still had
Yeah.
to load it out either way, so
Right.
it doesn't matter.
Okay.
So.
Well, we'll have less brush for you next year. That was a big pile
That's
this year.
wishful
It
thinking.
was a lot.
It was a lot, yeah.
Raisa, you have any comments for cleanup?
No, I wasn't there. It was prom season. I can't do anything during prom. Not that I'm going to the prom, but I'm sewing everybody's dresses. I can never do it at that time. And prom is Saturday, thank God.
You get a little break, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, under old business, we'll move on to Ganshaw H.
I think that's still kind of holding pattern. I figured Memorial Day weekend is when we would
Yep.
target for planting.
Jennifer
'cause
Chandler
as we
came
can
in
see,
and
it's
gave me
still.
the flats numbers, and we increased a couple of them, a
Okay.
couple flats for each color. And then I'll verify with Halls that they'll have them, and then that's usually when we pick up the outside pots is when we pick up the flowers for that, and then we'll just keep them watered at DPW, and then we'll do some prep work to the soil there.
Exactly, yeah, okay, perfect.
Any other questions on the H? Let's move on to the master plan.
We got Nick Klemp here who did the update for us, so everybody should have received a copy of the master plan. If there's any questions tonight, we can take those, and Nick's gonna give like a brief overview of the, what updates he did, and then we can do some questions, and if it's a consensus that everybody agrees, we can, have it move forward to the council for adoption, or we can, table it for another month to, have the parks, modify any more changes if they've seen any in the plan.
Now, the next move after tonight would be if we approve.
If we approve it, then it would go on the June council agenda for approval by council.
And then it has to go for public hearing, doesn't it?
We didn't do that yet.
No?
So that was
Well,
one of the things I was gonna
We
bring
can do the
up.
public hearing either at the June meeting here, or we can do it at the June council meeting, then have council adopt it if
Right.
Yeah.
Parks doesn't have any changes they wanna make tonight, or if they wanna make changes or didn't have enough time to review it, then I'll make that recommendation next month, we can do that too, so.
Okay,
Those are just the options, so,
just the steps.
yeah.
We're 2 away from it. Okay, Nick?
Well, I mean, basically, the way I kind of did this was I took were there four or five different packets. I think each of the members at the time took a section and started updating it. Maybe you talked about it in a meeting as well. I'm not sure exactly, but basically what I did was I took those changes that everybody had done and placed them into it either by adding the information or updating the information or taking some of that information out. So I can go through real quick. Hopefully you saw the changes that I made. I left in red
That
just
was
so it was
super
kind
helpful.
of easy to see what it was. But just going through real quick. The first section was just updating the stats. Some of the population, households, social characteristics. I think I worked with Chris Summers on that part. That was his section, and he kind of helped me out with that. The one big part of that we couldn't find, and I don't know if someone else maybe would want to look to see where they could find that. We couldn't find where they got that physical disabilities population information. We couldn't find that again.
Is that why you
Between
took it
Chris
out
and I.
then?
Yeah, so that was why I took that out, just because it wasn't updated. Because I think, when was the last time? 2015, I think the plan was from. So I didn't know, that's why I left it there, but crossed it out just for maybe to decide if you wanted to keep what was there, or if someone else maybe had an idea where that came from, if we wanted to add it back in. That was the big part with that. And then really there was some updates again with the land use updates. It was just updating the stats there on page 7. Page 9 was 9 through 11. We're just adding some of the new things that have been added to the parks. Oh, actually through 12 was adding, 13. Adding things to the parks. 14 was just, again, adding to some area park type things that were in our surrounding area. 15, we added quite a bit of, different things. The private recreation facilities that you had on there. And 16, I think those were just, the changes there were just changes of names. I think there were different names before this time, for now. I believe so. I thought somewhere on here was the ORV park.
It does mention it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I did
it's on
see
there
it,
now.
yeah.
Okay. I remembered.
It did get added in.
Yeah.
It's on page 25.
There was the one area that I took used my own words in, and not what was there, was on the depot part, just because obviously I knew some of the more specific updates for that. So that's the one part that I took liberty in. So that was that. That's right. Then actually there wasn't any till 23. I think it was just updating some of the names and things that have changed over the years, instead of being the Taste of Holly, like Blues Brews now, things like that. So it wasn't a big change. Then 24 were the national recreation trends of most popular type of recreation that's going on and fastest growing. So those obviously changed since then. And 28 was the just a small change, I think. Oh,
Did you
yeah.
change the maps on 26 and 27? Are those updated?
They are.
They look better than they used
Yeah,
to.
they do, don't they?
I think
Did you
those
make that
are
change?
the two that I may have changed.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Yep. And I added, because those were coincided with the list, the A through the X there on the other page, so I added
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, yeah, added that X there was the only thing that needed to be added. I couldn't quite get it the same, but hopefully that's okay.
On 29,
29, yeah.
I think we need to take out our public workshop information. That's the old information. That whole paragraph doesn't apply to this master plan, and that's what we still need to do. And then also in public meeting, same thing. It wasn't on October the 8th, and this is what we still need to do.
I'm wondering if somehow, yeah. I'm wondering if that was, because I made those changes, I'm wondering if, I switched over, like at first I was trying to do it in a PDF and then,
Lost some information.
yeah, clerk treasurer Debbie Bigger said, I have that in Word. I'm like, that would be a whole lot easier. And so I think maybe in my switch, I didn't
Yeah.
make those switches. So you think just taking that out, the public workshop?
Yes,
and-
well, I mean, what's there, if we are gonna add, if we're gonna be able to do a public workshop, put that information or take it all out. I don't know if we're required to have that or not. We're gonna have a public hearing for public input, and then the other stuff you put for public input is what we did. And then also up in the top of public input, it's the other information in the blue, or in the black.
That's the old information,
Yeah,
right?
so that just has to come out.
Yeah.
The red is what we did this year, though.
Oh, I was thinking of the public input maybe. I was thinking that was your workshop, but that's something different even.
We did do a public,
Didn't you have?
workshop, we did.
Yeah, did you have that at one of the events at Holidays this year?
We did surveys at
Yeah.
all of the events, yeah, which is what it says in red there. We also did do a workshop, that was in like April. It was like almost a year ago now, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, because you came and got those boards
Yeah,
and,
we did do that,
So we just need to get the correct date for that and
Yes.
update that information for the
yes.
public workshop. Okay.
and the public meeting
The
is
public
the
meeting
hearing
is-
that you have to do.
Right,
Yes.
and that's where we need to decide if you wanna do that at a parks meeting, or if you wanna do it at the council meeting, then the council will then they can approve it. We'll just do a public hearing at the council meeting, and then then it'll be on the agenda to approve. Or if you do the public hearing here, it's gonna probably be delayed, because most of the time, depending on when the dates are for the first Wednesday, the council meeting is either gonna be the Tuesday before or the Tuesday after, and everything has to be in by like 10 o'clock this morning, so.
Right.
I would say we take the short end of it.
Yeah, I
So,
agree.
okay, so we'll do the public hearing okay, so let's continue to do this, and then we'll figure out the dates. And
Yep.
we can get those to Debbie, and then I'll update the Parks Commission as we.
How would that work with doing the public hearing and then them not having that in here? Would that matter?
Well, what we'd have to do is bring back the updated version with whatever dates we decide to Parks. They approve it, and then it's just gonna delay the process about a month, so.
When would we be doing that, at the next council meeting?
Well, no, it would, because this
'Cause
would
ne-
have to come
yeah,
back
council
in
meeting's
June
next
with
week.
with the
Right.
updates in it. So what we would do is have probably July dates in there for the council meeting and the public hearing.
Okay,
So
Yep.
that's what we just have to decide, so that we get it updated, and then we'll bring all the updates to you guys in June with the July dates. You guys approve it, then it'll be a public hearing and approval by council in July.
because it's my understanding that we have to have it published in the newspaper, and that they were published and made known.
Right, we can, well, once you guys approve that in June, we can do that. We only have to, we'll have enough time to get that for July, because that'll
Yep.
give us a whole month.
Yeah.
I do have a question about like the schools and other community facilities part. Should we update this to reflect the changes? Like Carl Richter won't necessarily be here, especially the small play structure. Some of this, like the ball fields, will no longer be within our
I thought about that too.
area. So that's one of those things that I'm like, in Sherman Middle School, obviously, a lot of that is going to change too.
Well, the facilities at Sherman won't change.
So they'll still have use of like a tennis court. Sure, I didn't even realize there were tennis courts at Sherman.
Yeah.
Well,
I've
the
never
tennis
seen
courts-
those.
They're kind of like hidden off to the side.
Yeah,
The
as far
tennis
as-
Will
courts
they
are not
still
gonna
use
be
like the
here.
indoor, right, but will they be using indoor gymnasiums?
Yeah, that's supposed to be.
That
more
stays
community
open?
center
Okay.
oriented, so the Sherman is.
That's how I understood it,
Yeah,
yeah.
because that was
Yeah.
part of the bond, when they got the bond approved.
But some of this Carl Richter stuff, like the ball fields over
Okay,
here,
so we'll-
won't
yeah, those-
necessarily
Yeah.
show, right? Because there's gonna be, I'm not sure what that plan is, but I
Well,
think
the
it's
new-
one.
The new sports facilities will actually be where this building stands.
Right.
According to what the plans I've seen, and the new building is going to be where the
The
old
football field is, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so they might even have those things, I'm guessing.
The one I saw said they were looking at a single football or baseball field and a single softball field, so it wouldn't necessarily be like what we have now, as far as
No,
like
but
a
there's
little
gonna be-
league.
There's gonna be sports.
There would be
facilities
some here, yeah.
Yeah.
So those will change, but how drastically, we don't know.
Right.
until It's completed, which that's not supposed to open until
25?
25.
Yeah.
And this, well, this one doesn't have to be updated again until 2028.
They did tell me the tennis courts will be completed in August of this year here,
Yes,
so.
that was their first, yeah, that's phase one,
Yeah.
because when they finish this, they're going to tear the tennis courts out of the high school for the, skill center.
And this small structure playground it will not be salvageable, so that is gonna be gone,
No, the parts for it are obsolete because they're not safe.
right?
Well, and it will damage the equipment, right?
Right, well,
Yeah.
Pulling out with those
The
piers.
bands that hold everything together, they don't make them anymore because they failed. So we, even if, and when we took the one, that was another thing at Lakeside, when we took the bands off of there, we had to cut them off because
Right.
they seized up and there's not replacements for them, so.
Such a
It
waste.
just kind of shows that because we do, the public obviously wants a structure that is more toddler or younger children friendly, and we're losing this. So I think it's important to at least reflect we're aware of this, and it's something that, people want.
Well, me and Nick can go through and we'll make sure those are updates, so that'll just make it, like I said, then we'll bring an updated version back to you in June. And then we'll do the public hearing and council adoption for July, so we'll reflect the July dates in that one section, so.
I don't want to get into the weeds, but I want to go back to, you were saying that Sherman Middle School, they're talking about using that as a community center?
Yes,
Community friendly.
community friendly,
building.
yes, they're supposed to,
Okay.
the, Chamber of Commerce and, that are moving down there, so there's
Okay.
coordinates on that.
Interesting.
Okay, Nick, you continue.
Yeah.
Sorry
Where are
about
we
that.
at? Are we
Oh,
on
okay.
29 still, or are we on moving?
Is there anything else for 29?
No.
Do you have that? Can you give me that information for the workshop, Sarah?
I can look it up.
And
Yeah.
then I can add that
don't
in.
remember. I do remember that our date coincided with a play that was happening that everybody in town was at instead of at our workshop.
How do you say that it was?
I think it was like in May or April.
Okay, we're,
On 30 with the action plan, 30 and 31, again, I just, went off of what was on there, took off the ones that I'm guessing that you didn't want to pursue, and added a couple others that you were thinking of pursuing, so those are all pretty self-explanatory.
Just to point out, you guys, the things that, aside from the dog park, those things that are crossed out are things we did actually accomplish in the last 7 years. That's great. Because it doesn't feel like, sometimes it doesn't feel like we're getting much done, but some big things did get done that were on our master plan.
Yeah. And then, same with the capital improvement schedule, just, took some of those off and added some, right? Maybe, I think I actually just took some off. No added.
Should we reflect that that village did not pass? On page 33, increase of revenue, some of it's additional funding budgeted by council after the new police and fire millage passes, but it did not pass, so just, we have to reflect that didn't happen.
We may change that to additional funding may if a public
bond.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
they're talking about trying again.
Exactly, the fire department, they were just talking about that, they wanna do maybe a standalone.
Yeah, so if they do that, then we'll put additional funding may be available if a public safety bill gets passed.
Perfect.
On backing up to page 23,
We're already past it, so.
sorry. Recreational services and programs, and anywhere else maybe that's applicable. I think that the Holly Farmers Market, we should be including that as a recreational program. But I think that's here to stay, and I want to at least represent that way. I hope
Definitely.
we all want it to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that would be great with programs.
And then, the farmstead project that's underway for the township, do we want to include that if that's not in existence today, but will be in the next 5 years? Or leave that out now? I mean, hypothetically, that'll be a huge community recreational asset. But we can
But aren't they-
just leave that out.
They're running the same problem everybody else, the funding for it is slowing things down, so until, I mean, I think the only thing they've got going out there is a whole farm being brought out, so there's nothing,
No, the last I heard, the rest of the funding was secured recently. But, and they've been laying concrete for the next couple of barns. I saw those pads getting poured last week.
all I knew was about the one barn that they had salvaged from another area, that was the only thing that I know. Was
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still waiting to put the footings in.
Footings were being poured, they got them framed up and poured the last time I was by.
Yeah, they got the frame up. I didn't see them poured the other day though.
But it's not an existing recreational, so should we leave it out now?
Mhm.
And then, the only other thing, worth mentioning was the title. Love your optimism, Nick, but Village of Holy.
I wonder if that didn't change anything on
I
there.
can't believe I never even caught that.
Love the optimism. But I don't know if it's totally true.
It's my clergy coming out.
Richard Kinnaman work on that?
Gail actually pointed it out to me.
Oh, this is the
Yeah, because I never
Didn't
even noticed
recognize
it.
it either until she pointed it out to me.
It may have been like that from 2008.
I wonder. So I don't think I changed any of that.
That would have been me. Yeah, that was about my time. Maybe we should just have little logos of angels on it.
So if there's no other questions, we'll change those dates we'll bring back a revised copy in June, make sure everything got changed the way the commission wants. We'll put the July dates in there, do a public hearing, and then council can adopt it, and then we should be good.
Yep.
One other thing that I had on my notes that I overlooked was, how hard do you think it would be to swap out the photo of Lakeside if we take a new one of the new play structure? And we could do the exact same photo, but just the new structure.
That wouldn't be hard at all, especially now they have the Word document.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Is there a reason that you guys crossed out the splash park at Lakeside? Is it just because it's super expensive, or?
Yeah, we kind of ruled that out as a long-term possibility even,
Right,
like
it's a monetary thing.
monetary only, yes. Everybody would love the idea,
Right, exactly. Yeah.
but in the next 5 years, it really wasn't even something we were shooting for. That's the only reason.
Good deal.
Okay, any further questions?
Nick, thank you so much for all the work you did on that,
Yeah.
really, honestly.
I
No problem.
can't imagine the number of hours it took you and the time that it took you to put this together.
Well, I mean, most of it was, you guys did in session, and then it was just trying to read everybody's changes.
Even
And
just,
Chris and I probably had the hardest part,
Yeah.
trying to figure all that out,
That was
so.
kind of
We saved a lot of money, taxpayers' money.
A lot, so thank you very
even
much.
just updating the statistics must have taken you an unbelievable amount of time.
That was the longest part,
Yeah, I
yeah. That was
forgot.
what Chris and I were working on.
Page 21, I don't know if you guys, I'm sorry I'm late, but 21 North Oakland Headwaters, you have it right somewhere else, but that's Blue Heron now. Just,
Uh-oh.
you got it right like, I was just looking for that, and then, I was right, but it's wrong on page 21.
Where is that at?
It's, Land Conservancy's 21.
Oh.
And
Oh, yeah.
does Michigan Nature have anything not within the village? They're all in
So it's blue herring.
Blue Heron. Yeah, you got it right on the other page.
Yep.
Probably someone put a note on that there.
Yep. That was
But,
it.
Yeah, it's in red, so. And,
Now,
is it the underneath it's supposed to be Oakland or Oakland? I'm not sure, because that one I'm not familiar with, but
oh, oh, probably Oakland
Okay.
Land Conservatory.
probably.
Conservancy. I can look it up. I don't know.
That's
I don't
it.
think that
Just-
was
yeah, that's the only
flagged,
thing
so I
was
didn't even-
Looking for. There might have been something on page 25. Hold on, let me scan that real
It's
quick.
the same thing.
I mean, you got 20, that's 20. So.
Anything further?
I don't know.
Okay, press on. Let's move on to budget.
This Saturday is, the parks budget. So there is $10,000 in there slated for projects. And once all the final, general fund budgets come in, there may be, there's a couple areas that have been earmarked, if there's extra money to be increased, parks being one of them. So if you wanna say, you know, they don't let you talk, but Saturday, I mean, Amber can talk, so she'll be there for,
Right.
as
So
parks
tell me
council,
everything
so.
you need me to say.
So I
We
take,
get on the table.
I take it, our next June meeting, we'll have a more solid figure on where
Right,
we can
after
spend our
s-
money.
Yeah, pretty much after Saturday, as long as there's no major discrepancies and all the revenues come in like they're supposed to, the end of June, council adopts, so it'll be pretty much, you know, unless there's a curveball thrown at the council, and the council meeting in June is later, so it'll definitely be after our meeting, but we'll know by then if they've changed it and added to it, so I can give an update then.
So unofficially, we're looking at 10,000 right now.
Correct.
So
every-
I have,
Everybody get their little want list figured out where we're gonna drop this monies at.
so last weekend I did, send a request to all the council members to look at our budget, perhaps make it at least what it was last year, ensure we get our gazebos and give us more. So I did already reach out to them. I was told they're gonna talk about it this weekend, so.
Yeah, Saturday is.
So, I
all
don't know
the
if anybody
general
else
fund.
wants to throw their email into everybody,
you.
but.
Did you determine whether or not that money was still there for the gazebos that were
We're
allocated?
picking them up tomorrow.
Yay.
Sweet.
That's awesome.
And that's out of last year's money,
Yes,
right?
last year's
Yep.
money, so, I paid to have the lakeside topped off with fresh, so that's all done. There'll be some concrete repairs done where there was damaged concrete around the new play structure and the gazebos, and that'll probably, if there's any money left, then I will get some trees and rocks to continue at lakeside
Very good.
out of this year's budget, and then that'll save, hopefully, cause that was one of the projects that was for next year's budget, so.
Right.
Good,
Thank you.
thanks a bunch. Okay, let's move on to the bird walk. Chris, you have a report on how that came
Yeah,
out?
it was nice. Sarah's kids were there and her husband. It was, you know, we saw about 15 species of birds or so, maybe 16. I sent a list to Shannon,
Yeah.
and she's going to do something with that, right?
Yes, yeah. We
So,
updated
yeah.
the Facebook page with a post about, thanking the Detroit Autobahn for
Yeah,
lending the, equipment and stuff too.
Yeah, that was nice of them to loan me the equipment. So,
Good.
yeah, weather could have been a little better, but
Next
that's the way
year.
it is in Michigan.
Now, are you gonna plan any fall or
Yeah,
summer
I
bird
think I'd go
watching?
fall one probably. Yeah, yeah,
On migratories and stuff,
Yes.
coming back through? Good.
sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very cool thing. I thought, it'd be awesome to see it again.
Okay.
In my
thank you.
experience too, consistency works, so
Yeah.
you may see, reoccurring people by doing it, like maybe do it twice a year, every year, and be
Right.
consistent about that,
Yeah.
and the audience builds.
Okay.
Okay. Let's move on to discussion about Ganshaw Park garden improvements.
Go for it. We can improve all of it.
Well, we were discussing it before about the trees.
Mhm.
Have you heard anything more about that?
I have not. As far as I know, there's not been a DDA design meeting that I've missed. Right, so, and what he's referring to is the last design meeting, it was discussed that improvements wanted, that the DDA wants to, invest in improving the streetscape along Ganshaw with trees. The Parks Commission was 100% on board, wanted to know if, when, and how. Did you have any other information on that at all?
We haven't met since
Okay.
then, but it probably won't be. It'll probably be like the coming spring. You know, like what we were talking about in that meeting was for this next year's budget cycle. So, and it's really bad because I think one of the trees, I remember, they were thinking might need to be moved or something.
Yeah.
And so the best time
One
to do
of the
that.
trees got cut down, right? That was, somebody in DPW did that? That was recent. The last
The
couple
only
weeks.
trees we cut down at Ganshaw were dead, so.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
one of them that we were talking about is
Oh.
now gone.
Oh, well, wait.
And then there was two other ones that this Parks Commission was 100% on board with relocating.
Perfect. Yeah, and what we need to do, I haven't done that yet with that group, is plan a time where we go over to the park and write down, you know, like, this is what we need to do, this how, at the meeting, it was just, we were at, like, my office and saying, oh, these are some things we need to do. But we couldn't really say what or where because we weren't there, so
So
we need
next,
to schedule a time where we go over there, and hopefully Sarah can be a part of that as well.
and you'll probably come up with some kind of sketch,
Yeah,
some kind of
like a
blueprint about
plan.
what you want to do, what you're going to plant, where you're going to plant it.
Yes.
So we can take this off our agenda for a while, right?
Sure.
Well, yes and no, because some of that, the trees would be, we would need the money budgeted for, but then there was another aspect of just transplanting. Dr. Sofaro wanted to transplant hydrangeas and hostas, I think it was.
Yeah, I think so too.
And was it sedum too, or?
I think
But he wanted to
I don't-
transplant those around the gazebo, and that's potentially something that could happen this spring, 'cause
Yeah.
isn't this the time to do
Oh.
those?
Yeah,
transplants?
yeah. I think
Okay.
he's
He might
planning
be
on
thinking
doing
about doing
that.
that very soon here.
So we'll leave it on the agenda.
Yeah,
And
he
that-
is.
Reminder.
He
And
is
that-
planning on doing that. I know
And that was something that nobody on this board objected to as well.
Okay,
And Sarah's on our design team, so
yeah.
it's kind of a nice correlation.
Let's move on to general business. Approval of minutes for March 19th, 2023 Parks Walkthrough.
Say what?
Because you guys had a quorum at the walkthrough, you had to, the minutes have to be approved and entered into the record.
Oh,
So, I think Joe gave those, they were typed up, you guys should have a copy of them in your packet.
That's all I have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, that's all you need to, you just need to approve that, so that
Okay.
because it was a public meeting.
Everybody have it in their packet?
Yes, just one.
yeah.
See that?
And you get paid, the ones that showed up, so.
I'd entertain a motion.
I'll second.
No, somebody has to entertain the motion
Oh, I'll entertain the motion, we approve the minutes of the park walkthrough,
for
April.
March
March
19th.
yeah.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carried. Now we're gonna move on to general business, new ethics ordinance. Everybody has a copy of it, was handed to us in our packet.
Yep, council adopted a new code of ethics with some changes in it, so
What are the changes, do you know?
I'm actually the.
Yeah, Amber
What
was
on
the
that-
chair for that,
what
so
on
she'll
that
be able
is
to
new?
explain it better than me.
Everything basically in this ethics ordinance is new because our last ethics ordinance was written about 10 years ago and it was
Just relied
literally
heavily on common
probably
sense.
about this much, about the first page, and it just left a lot of ambiguity. So we tried to kind of streamline the process and also kind of give directions on if there is a violation, how that will be handled. But yeah, basically we knew we had to flesh this out, and that's what we did. We went to a couple different, the village manager went and looked at a couple other communities' ordinances, and we kind of borrowed from other people to make this, so
I
that,
think it's very complete.
yeah, it's,
Now,
that's what we were going for.
As far as the village goes, are they gonna have an ethics board now? Just the basis for the
That's
ethics
exactly
board?
why we did this as well, because,
is-
yeah, the ethics board has not been utilized.
Right, and this is,
so,
the-
yes,
this
we
is the
do have an ethics
foundation for
board.
the ethics board then, more or less,
Right.
yeah. Okay,
I was kind of wondering if, possibly this should be sent to each person that is on any board or commission in this village and have a signature, have them sign it,
Well, it'll be part of every packet, so.
saying that they've read
So
it
they-
and
they-
understand it.
Yeah, that they, well, I don't think, they don't have to, I mean, if they have questions, they can answer it, but I
Okay,
think there's some legalities if you make somebody sign saying they
Yeah.
understand it. All the village can require is that you sign that you received it. They can't require you to say that you understand it.
we went through this before.
Yeah, with the personnel manual and some other stuff like that,
Yeah.
just going from,
Yeah.
so.
But the village can enforce it.
Right, they can enforce it, cause I think when you take your oath of office.
You
Yep.
do, yeah,
agree
you'll
to
get a
all the
packet, yeah.
Policies and stuff like that,
Yep.
so,
okay.
yeah.
Okay,
But I mean, if you have any questions or concerns, you can bring them back and then we can take them to council too. So if you look through this and you do have questions or concerns, we can take it back to the ethics committee and they can try to address it.
I just wondered, because I've been through some of these battles where people claim that they didn't understand
No.
it and it wasn't, and I'm,
Yes,
what?
yeah.
That's why we were trying to, yeah, because the old one was,
Oh, it was so ambiguous.
you could make it to be anything you wanted, where this is a
Right.
little bit more cut and dry of,
and
Yes, it is very.
also you
dry.
can't plead ignorance of the law.
Right.
Doesn't
And that's
stand
why
up
it's
in a
being
court.
included in everybody's packets for all the commissions and council and stuff like that. So, like I said, if you look through it and you have questions, you
Okay.
can contact, Joe or me, and we can get those, or Amber directly if you want to, but just so that we, we'll make sure those concerns are addressed, if there is a concern.
May I ask a question?
yeah.
Going forward, will that be something that's presented to anybody incoming on a commission?
Yes,
board?
yeah, it'll be, yep, as long, we passed this in our last council meeting, so yep, going forward, this will be included into their packet.
Yeah,
Is there,
Because before it was literally just like one sheet.
Do commissioners receive a packet when they are appointed on a, did you receive?
I
a
did,
packet?
I received it. It didn't have this one exactly, because I was
Yeah.
before this, but yeah,
When
I
you
got
do
a
your
whole
oath of-
folder.
When Debbie administers your oath of office, she usually gives you a packet of.
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't get one, but it was a long time ago, but
Right.
I don't know.
Did
But
Debbie
yeah,
swear you in?
yeah. But
Was
it
it
was,
Debbie or was it Kathy?
well, I think it was Kathy.
Yeah, so,
And it was in the building down, it was a long time
yeah,
ago.
yeah, so, some things have changed since then. so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Well,
sat
mean,
through
'cause
an
you do
interview
feel
and
sort of
everything.
lost, like, oh, Robert's rules and
Yeah,
and the master plan and having, get just a packet would be good for every commissioner coming onto all of our boards.
Yeah, it was a very informative packet. It had all that stuff in there, so it was very nice to receive.
is there anything on procedural, like for a violation as far as, what the discipline would be, or the timeline, whether they need to call a special meeting or things like that?
No, it's more,
'Cause that
it is a procedure in that, if somebody makes a complaint, then that would go to the village manager and to the village lawyer.
Okay,
And no matter what they decided, say they said, yes, we think there's a violation, they
okay,
still have to bring that to the ethics board.
Yeah.
And then the ethics board, we could say, no, we don't think there's
Gotcha.
a violation, and then it still has to go to the council
okay.
after that.
Who's the ethics board? Members of the council?
Yes,
There's
it's
a subcommittee.
myself, April Brandon, and Richard
Okay.
Kinnaman.
So
Alright.
there is a way of doing this,
Okay,
you know.
that's just,
Right, because before, yeah, they didn't utilize the ethics committee like that. If there was an allegation, it just went to the village manager. They
okay.
decided kind of the procedure to go to.
And
And
it
as
was
far
very
as like
arbitrary.
punishments, and I use that
Right.
loosely, that's all
With
kind of
elect-
based upon the law, the
Yeah,
state
elected
law.
officials are different than appointed officials.
Right.
Yeah.
So you guys are appointed, so the rules for censure or dismissal are different than an elected official.
And there has to be a due process, which
Right.
the ethics board would be part of the due process, so, yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So mind your P's and Q's, Mr. Summers.
Okay, let's move on to reports.
Our mowing contractor started last week, so if you see somewhere that he's lacking, or if I notice it, we did remind him about, you know, we've done some cleanup at Waterworks and edging and stuff like that, so if you start to see that, you know,
Foot coming away from the
yeah, it
edge.
starts getting away from the edge and stuff, let me know so we can get that corrected. The lakeside play structure should be open.
Mhm.
The pavilions, like I said, we'll pick those up tomorrow for Waterworks.
Will
and,
those be assembled and erected soon, or,
as soon as I have some time, so.
well, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
like,
as
do
soon
you
as I have
any-
enough staff to,
Yeah.
so we can get them going, so, yes. And
Cool.
then, like I said, the last of the money will be used for sidewalk replacement. If there's anything left, then we will start, you know, continue the phasing out of the fence at, Lakeside Park with trees and rocks.
Nice.
Cool.
Do we have porta johns delivered already then?
Yep.
Okay, good, because we do have that farmer's market starting up again. Last year, we didn't have them in time.
Yep.
Any other
Weather
questions?
got nice for a minute, and then now it's cold again, so hopefully this is the last day, and
Any other questions?
I kind of have a question. I ran this by Sarah about a month ago. Have you ever applied for grants through the Arbor Day Foundation?
we're part of the Arbor Day for Tree City
Right,
USA.
because we're Tree City USA.
Yes, and they have some, and I know DTE and consumers have them, and when I've tried to apply, most of the time, we're too small for what the grant size that they give out, so, but I'm always looking for opportunities, so.
Because I wondered, because in the last meeting, there's several places that you talked about trees around the playscape and in Lakeside Park there, and I wondered if you had applied for anything through them. I would be willing to do it if you wanted to look into it, but
Yeah, I'll
if you've
take a look
already
into it.
done it and you think we're too small,
No, I mean, they change it all the time, so if there's opportunities out there, and I do get emails periodically through, I know there was one I talked about a couple meetings ago, that Oakland County was offering some funds also, so.
okay, good.
Okay, let's move on to board member comments. Amber?
I don't think I have anything to add for tonight.
Shannon?
I do want to say, I thought the bird walk was great. I think it's really cool that we are kind of offering some of that stuff in the village. I saw people playing at the Lakeside Park, and everybody looked like they were having fun. So there was a multitude of ages there. It was great. I was glad to see them there. Can't wait to see some baseball games up here. But yeah, I think everything looked nice.
Chris?
Yeah, same thing on the birdwalk. I would like to do another one. I just couldn't give you a date right now, but probably like in June this year would be good. But that's why I'm just really busy this month. So, but maybe the next meeting I'll just give you a date.
Teresa?
No, not really. I'm still learning and listening, and I thank all of you for your current expertise, because mine's a little old. It's good to be back, so thank you.
Sarah?
All right, so we have farmer's market. The outdoor farmer's market is moving back to the park on the 7th. It'll be open, so that's this weekend. We have Vintage Baseball coming up. They're going to have their first game on May 20th. That is in just a couple weeks. And then the budget workshop, what you're doing on Saturday, is that something that we want to promote asking public to attend, or do you want to promote asking public to participate by sending communication ahead of time? Or
I think, yeah, maybe we should post something from the Village Parks website, maybe saying, hey.
There's no public input at a budget meeting.
Yeah, they
Right.
don't really get to say
Excuse me.
but do you?
anything.
But is it valuable to have public? We have a
Or
lot
maybe
of
just say,
public
hey,
with a lot of
email.
opinions
We can
on
put-
budgets. Can
Yeah.
they email ahead of time?
Exactly, yeah, and that's what we can put on there, yeah, if, Any questions, concerns, comments? Here's the emails of your council people, yeah.
And who would you like those emails sent to? All of the council members?
Maybe just the president, and then maybe he can disseminate. Because I know Jim Perkins says he doesn't use email,
Okay.
so.
Do you think you can put together an announcement on the Facebook page with the
Yeah.
relevant information of who
Yep,
to
with
send
all
it
of
to?
our emails, absolutely.
Awesome. Because I don't want to miss out on any opportunity to influence more money coming our way.
Amen.
And that's all I got for that.
Okay, I have nothing much to report. I'm gonna look forward to this season coming up, as soon as summer gets here. And I'd
Is
like
it coming?
In July.
Yeah,
Tomorrow.
Saturday, it's coming,
Summer's coming?
yep.
Saturday? Okay,
And I'd
great.
like to inject into our agenda here tonight, a closing public speaking. If anybody would like to speak in the public,
Scott.
Scott Shalag, 6378 Weatherford Court, Holland. As Sarah mentioned, 2 weeks from Saturday, our home opener, we'll have our defending Carrie Nation champs, the Fort Wayne Early Risers against the club from Northville, who has a member who lives in our community. So he's been to a couple of our games, so hoping to get, we get a good turnout. I got Richard's email with the first ad. I have one sponsor, two sponsors technically for Vintage Baseball for our booklet. I will be writing up a grant request with the board, and I'll present that to you guys next month. 'Cause,
Okay.
again, this is all coming out of my pocket, so. I have presents for everybody, if you'd like to put them up in your house. It is our schedule. And I have passed these out to business owners as well
Oh, good.
to put out, along with the
Because I don't get a
proposal.
lot of people through my kitchen, but
I do.
Yeah, but we could probably take the,
We can share this on
that's what I was gonna
Facebook.
say, on
right?
Facebook.
Yeah.
We
shoot,
could,
prom season's almost over.
I got, the other day I got
Sarah,
some,
Shannon and I were just saying, like, we can share like this on like the Facebook. Like,
Lots.
Yeah.
yeah.
And if you guys haven't noticed, I've
Go
been
around town.
posting little tidbits and stuff about different terminologies.
Yes.
And, posted a video about, can women play vintage baseball? Yes. If you guys come,
I noticed those, but did you notice that you're posting those in a format that's not public?
am I?
Yeah,
Well, I
so I
posted it
can't
on-
share
I share
anything.
it to all the, or a copy to the other groups.
Yeah, I can't share it when
If I
it's
can
not
make
shareable, it's
my-
private.
If I can make that private group public again, I will. I made it private because somebody was advertising, joined it just to put advertising on
Right.
it, so.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
yeah.
But yeah, I was gonna ask you, if you can make those announcements public, I'd like to push them onto our parks page and our local pages, like every day this week. I think you've got enough for each day.
Okay.
For the next couple of weeks, we can,
I do.
just to start really drumming up that
Yes.
awareness of this coming.
And you'll see some changes from, if you've come out to the games during the holidays. Basically, Mike and myself yell really loud, and I'm not a very loud person, so we have, we actually have microphones now. So we have
Nice.
portable PA systems that'll be attached. And any feedback after the game, because it's a growing experience, not just for myself organizing this, but for the village itself, so we can, grow, so we can know what we can do going forward.
I love that it's so theatrical. It's more than just a baseball game. It's very entertaining.
Yes, especially the first game with the Fort Wayne people, because they love to have fun while they're playing. So, I look forward to it. I know the weather has been bad.
That's an
Um,
understatement.
This is recorded, so I have to say, PC. Is there any chance by the 20th at least the goalposts will be gone?
Yes, as soon as we can get equipment in there without making a bigger mess than
Yeah.
we have, so. It's supposed to warm up tomorrow, this weekend. So if it does, Monday, they were calling for rain, but when I looked at the forecast just before I came, it looks like they've changed it again. So if that's the case, then hopefully Monday we can get in there, because then if we get a couple days of rain, then it makes it, we start the process all over again.
If nobody's got anything to do on Saturday, I'm playing ball in Holland, so. But actually, truly, Sarah, I would like in the next week or so to meet with you to go over to the Cyclone, and we can try to measure out where we actually want to put things, like the field at. And,
Just not in the water.
well, if there's water, then I'll just backstroke out to where I need to put the diamond, or put the field at, so. But that's about it, and I look forward to 2 weeks.
Perfect.
Very good.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? That's,
Ladies' night out is this coming weekend, so make sure you come downtown.
What? That was pretty.
That was quiet. You need to.
Ladies' night is this weekend, Friday 5 to 9, and then Saturday and Sunday. Friday, a lot of cool things going on, so a lot of giveaways
good.
for the ladies that are here.
For the ladies.
Okay, not hearing or seeing any other comment, I'm gonna adjourn this, meeting at 6:57.
Brian, did the farmer's market put up a banner over the road? Did that get done yet?
I didn't know because we're
Did they
having
make a
Pride.
request?